This video is part of a series of SSIS tutorial videos created by COZYROC. In this video, I will show you how to configure a package that uses the inner join type in the merge join transformation. When you use the inner join with the merge join transformation, the output will be just the rows that are in both the left and the right input. And in this case, it doesn't matter which input is left or which is right, but we're still going to use that terminology a little bit in this demonstration. So this is the input that I'll use as the left input. It is in a table. The phone column will be used as the ID. And then we have a first name and a last name column, and those all the rows have data in those columns. And then there's the gender and age columns that do not have data. They're all null. And here you can see we have 100 rows in this table. And now we'll go take a look at the Excel file that we'll be using as the right input. And this has only 3 columns in it. Again, it has the phone column, and again, that's used as the ID. That'll be used to match the rows. And then we have a gender and age column, and those have data in them in this Excel file. So that'll be used to fill in those columns in the output. And this has a slightly different number of rows. It has 102, and so we have some rows that are different between the two inputs. So I'm going to close this file, and we'll go over to Visual Studio now. I'm going to start by configuring the connection managers. So I'll start with the OLE DB connection, and that's all set up. And now we'll define the new connection for the Excel file. We need to go find the path, and here's the file right here. And I'll click OK. And now we'll drag the data flow task onto the canvas. And I'll double click to go over to the data flow canvas. And we'll start with the OLE DB source component. And we'll be using this to read input from table. And I'll double click to open the editor. It's already selected that connection manager we just set up. And then I just need to choose the table, which is called student data. And I'll preview it. And there's the data we were just looking at in Management Studio. I'll click OK to close that editor. And then we'll use the Excel source component. And this will be used to read input from Excel file. And I'll double click on that to open the editor. And again, this one has selected the correct connection manager already. And we'll go select the name of the sheet, which is students. We'll preview the data. There's the data we just looked at in the Excel file. Now click OK to close that editor. And we need to sort the data from both of these inputs before we can feed it into the merge join transformation. So I'll drag the sort transformation onto the canvas and connect the input from the table to it. And it is going to be passing through all of the columns. And then I'll select phone as the column I want to sort on. And then click OK to close that editor. And then we'll do this again for the data coming from the Excel file. Stay tuned to see how I complete the configuration of the package and execute it.
Are you tired of updating packages because of changing metadata? How many hours have you spent accommodating new source and destination columns? How many nearly identical packages do you have to maintain? Especially when you need to update hundreds of them. Well, you should check out COZYROC's Data Flow Task Plus component. Dataflow Task Plus provides the ability to acquire the metadata and map the columns at runtime. You can even use transformations on the data. Just add the changes at the source and destination, execute, and Dataflow Task Plus will handle the process of extracting, transforming, and loading the desired columns from the source to the destination without a need to change the existing package. It works with any standard SSIS Dataflow components, transformations, and application adapters. No more manual package updates. Design your SSIS data flows with Dataflow Task Plus and save hundreds of hours. A vision of completely metadata-driven processing is now possible. Download COZYROC's Dataflow Task Plus from COZYROC.com. It's free for testing and development within Visual Studio.
All right, now we'll get the merge join transformation and drag that onto the canvas. And I'll connect the arrow from the sort on the left side. And it does make us choose to call it the left input or the right input. So I'll select left input for this. And then it automatically will consider the input from the Excel file as the right input. So now we'll double click to open that editor. It's already selected the phone column as the column to use to match and merge. And then we need to select which columns we want passed through to the output. So we know the phone and the first name and the last name columns in the table do have data in them, so we'll pass those through. And then we know the data from the Excel file will have a matching phone column here, so we don't need to pass that through, but we will pass through the gender and the age columns. And then we're going to rename the output alias for each of these based on which input it's coming from. So the first three columns are coming from the table, which is considered our left input. So I'm going to append _L to those column names. And then for gender and age, I'll put _R as part of the column names. And that should do it. I'll click OK. And now we need to write this output to another table. So I'll use the OLE DB destination. We'll use it to write output to table. And we'll connect the arrow from the merge join transformation. Double click to open the editor, and it is in the same database, so using that same connection manager is good. And then we'll select the name of the table, which is merged student data. And I'll click on view existing to make sure I emptied out that table, and I did. Now we'll click on mappings, and it's correctly mapping. All the names match. So click OK, and I'll save the package. And now we'll execute it. And it completed successfully. And before I stop debugging, I just want to point out that you can see we have 100 rows coming from the left side and 102 rows coming from the right side. And then only 97 rows come from the output from the merge join. I'll stop debugging now. And we'll go over to Management Studio and take a look at the data in the table here. And there you can see we have 97 rows. And there are no null columns in here because the output consists of only the rows that were in both the left and the right input. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to follow us on social media, here's how you can do that.